Okay, looks like this started recording. This is my first attempt to do a voiceover on a tutorial, so not really sure how it's going to work out. I hope it is educational, possibly entertaining, not death-defying. You may hear the occasional loud boom. I've got a really severe thunderstorm going on outside. Thought it was the perfect time to record this. Um, Anyways, time to start my first video tutorial. This is an expansion upon the previous tutorials I've done using region IDs. As you can see, I have some set up here, and a lot of treasure chests. Um, what I'm doing here is actually a tutorial on making trapped treasure chests and having key items to disable them. Could probably also be done with skills, but for now I'm just working with key items. The first thing you want to do is create a quick event and just create a treasure chest starting out. Put whatever you want in it. In this case, I'm going to put a, I don't know, full potion. Why not? Now, I have an example here because, as you can see, 6 pages, really complicated. The first thing you'll do, as you can see, is you use conditional branches based on a common event that I've already created on previous tutorials. Let me show you that first. This is the common event key item use. As you can see here, you'll want to have a conditional switch to turn it on. What this common event does is it lets you pull up, in this case with the X button, A on American keyboards, will let you pull up your key item menu instead of having to have something trigger it so that the key items can be called from anywhere on the map. This was all covered in a previous tutorial, but I'm recording it, might as well go over it now, right? First thing you want is 2 variables. Just as they said, you want to capture the player's location at any given time. Next, you'll pull up region ID. You can find this on page 3, I believe. You'll want to make sure it's region ID, as you have several choices. Region ID is the name of the variable. In this case, I put it on 4. Info type, you want region ID. And then designate with variables, players X and player Y. Simple enough, right? What this does is it checks the region ID at any time you go to use the item to make sure you're standing on the particular region ID that you're looking for. You'll actually put that region ID within the event itself, in this case the trapped treasure chest. Now the next thing you do is make a conditional branch, the X button being pressed, once again the A button, and then that calls up the select key item for the variable 7 item use. Now these here are additional. This is actually important for the tutorial I'm showing you now. What this checks to see is it's a detect trap item that I made. What this does is you can use this one from anywhere. That's why it's within this common event. It doesn't require the region ID. When you pull this up, you can use the detect trap item. If you do, it turns on to the check it trap switch, which then locks the use of key items for 300 frames or 5 seconds, and then turns back off. Now let me show you what that does within these events, if it'll register. Been having a little trouble with these things triggering recently. Anyways, you will go to this page here, detect a trap. Everything works the same as before on a normal page, only the trap is blue. Now I have this in here. This actually isn't needed because you can't, while this switch is on, you can't actually call up another key item. And the reason for that is this wait here within the common event freezes the common event until the 300 frames has passed. A little bit annoying, but it lets you look and see which of these chests are trapped. Now, what you'll do here is within the first frame, you'll run this to a parallel process. A little unusual for a chest, I know. You can see that down here. You'll do all sorts of conditional branches, just like setting up any other region ID secret. First of all, you'll set the first variable to region ID for region ID, make it equal to 1 or whatever you have the region ID set at. In this case, obviously, I have mine set to 1. Then you want to make sure the player is facing up. The reason for that is, of course, that you can use the item from anywhere and facing any direction, but to make more sense, you want to make sure they're pointing towards the treasure chest. Then you go key item use, the variable for 7, which is item use, is equal to 5. What that means is when you call up the item menu, you choose item 5. In this case, item 5 is Let me show you. Items. Item 5 is the disabling device. Neat little item, disables traps on treasure chests. Really simple, right? When you're making your key items for the item use, keep in mind that you don't want them consumable and you want them only used from menu. At least for now. I'm sure in later tutorials I'll find a great way to use them in battle too. Anyway, back to the actual event. Now, when you use that key item, it will play a sound effect, turn on skill activation, just to show you that something happened to the chest, so you can hear it. You can choose not to have the activation, just have an unlocking sound where the player has to listen, or you can even actually tell them that through text that it's unlocked. Choice is yours. Then it turns on control switch for disarm. Disarm is this one here. When disarm is on, the trap event, which I'll show you in a second, no longer exists. It's now just a normal chest. This here is if the disarm's on and then you detect trap again, so it still works. Now the next step you want to make here is another conditional branch, and this one the C button is being pressed. In this case it's Z. The reason this is within the else of the item being used is because obviously when you choose the item use, you push Z to select it. If you do, you're going to open the treasure chest, set off the trap. This kind of gives a little delay, make sure they don't happen at the same time. This also allows you to open the chest without using the key item and setting off the trap. As you see, everything here up to this point is normal treasure chest. Now what I've added here is an event, just flash, and then in the middle of the screen you say blinded. You turn blind onto the whole party. Then you still give them the item. You can do a variety of things with this event here. You can damage them, you can poison them, you can summon a monster, anything you could think of, you can put right in just this little area here. Now, of course, at the end of it, I have this detect a trap set up here, so if you turn on detect a trap after the item has already been gathered and self switch A is on, it doesn't close the chest again. Found out through hard work that that'll happen. Yeah, you don't want them to get the item twice. So, detected trap, self switch A is on, it's over. That's pretty much the gist of it. Not really much more to say. I mean, in the end, really, the choice is yours of what kind of trap you want to have them, how you want to make this work with disabling, or if you even want to get them the option to disable. You might just give them the option to detect traps, and they know which ones are trapped. They have to take the risk of opening a trapped chest. Endless, really, what you can do here. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. Lots of clicking. I hope this really was informative, and I didn't ramble on too much. Like I said, this is the first time. I'll probably continue doing these in the future. It wasn't that awkward for me, so. Anyways, I hope I get a lot of feedback. Thanks.